and welcome friends. In this module, we wish to discuss about landfilling techniques for municipal solid waste. In this particular presentation, we will get introduced with landfilling technique. We will understand the principle of operation. We will understand the suitability of the waste and various methods that have been used for the landfilling. So as you learn the content, you will be able to introduce landfilling as a disposal technique. Also, state the principle of operation for landfilling and would also be able to explain need of sanitary landfills. So far, in the first 4 modules, right from the definition of municipal solid waste management as well as the basic objectives, we have been discussing about the various functional elements. So, right from the waste generation till the various processing techniques as well as waste transformation techniques, you already know about. Now this is the time to discuss the ultimate disposal of the solid waste which is already passed through the various phases of the functional elements that we have discussed so far. So at the end disposal, as we are considering one of the techniques landfills to be adopted, here we wish to dispose all the remnants that have been raised through the various processes at the landfills so that it won't create any adverse impact on the environment. According to the requirement, we can consider simply open dumps, landfills, hazardous waste landfills or monofills. So as we move ahead, each of the aspects related to the landfilling would be more clear to you. Basically, this landfill is a unit operation for final disposal of solid waste on land, which is designed as well as constructed, operated, maintained by involving some basic essential components. Here one thing we must be clear about. According to the modern terminologies, whatever the term that we are using as a landfill is at par with secure landfill, engineered landfill, sanitary landfill, only if the landfill is designed on the principle of waste containment and is characterized by the presence of essential components which is not allowing percolation of the products that are developed in the various processes that are taking place during the storage of the solid waste. If we refer to the old literature, the landfills are also regarded as sanitary landfills in order to describe the waste which are simply dumped and covered by making use of certain soil cover. But that kind of the landfills did not have the basic elements which avoids the further contact of that particular solid waste with the external part of the landfill, and hence which does not have the ability to cut away the various pollution pathways. Hence, whenever we make use of this particular landfill, we must consider it in terms of secure landfill, which does not have much of the ability to pollute the atmosphere. Let's try to understand the principle of the landfilling. As you see here in the sketch, here we wish to have this particular waste contained in such a way that it would be isolated from the rest of the environment. Thereby, we wish to eliminate the polluting pathways. As well as the waste is being stored in this particular containment, it would undergo physical, chemical as well as the biological changes, and hence it will give rise to various products which may be particulate, which may be some liquid, or which may be certain gases. As we wish to establish this path control, we must monitor the operation as well as the maintenance of this kind of the landfill. So it could be during the operation, or it could be also even after closure of that kind of landfills. As we see the principle here, we wish to see that the kind of the waste which is again getting rise through various functional elements, which does not have any further use, which is remaining as a residue at the processing, material recovery as well as the energy recovery centers, could be stored in this kind of facility. For even the modern landfills, we consider it to be only viable method for solid waste disposal. This we expect to have at a certain places which will be convenient according to the category of the landfills. Broadly, we can say that this landfilling involves controlled disposal on or in the upper layer of the Earth's mantle. Earlier, and even nowadays, at many of the places, the waste is simply dumped, and accordingly, it is covered at the end of the area or the volume that is available for placing or dumping that kind of waste. Here, the waste is untreated, it is not segregated, and hence it has many issues. It is the breeding ground for the flies, rats as well as other rodents, insects which have ability to spread the diseases. As well, the subsequent version of this particular open dumps, which is intentionally created ground, maybe in the form of peat or maybe in the form of certain platform, and on that waste is sprayed. It could be slightly compacted, and at the end of that particular landfill, the total storage of that solid waste is covered with some thick layer of soil or mud as such. Open dumps is totally unscientific way of disposing this, whereas a landfill is some slight modified version of open dumps. But as we see, both these kind of the landfills have many issues, which is, as I mentioned previously, it is the open ground for flies, rats and similar rodents, as well as it comes across the wind, it will cause the litter of the waste. As it comes across the water current and the inherent moisture content that waste has will give rise to various gases as well as even some unnecessary product, liquid product, which is leachate coming out of that, and hence it has due potential to contaminate even the underground water currents. Hence, both these kind of the landfilling practices are very serious and must be phased out as far as the landfilling technique is concerned. As we think of the various issues, we must take into account what kind of the waste we can dump or store or treat or dispose in the landfills. So as I discussed previously, the waste which is remaining as a residue which is coming out of the various processing or recycling facilities, or there could be certain pre-processing or the post-processing rejects for the waste processing. As well, there could be certain non-hazardous waste which is coming out of the various process which further does not have any potential for its recycling, can be stored in the landfills. Whereas, if we see the various operation constraints and if we consider the basic logic behind this particular landfilling, we must not go for bio-waste, garden waste or the dry recyclables. As discussed previously, bio-waste, garden waste can be subjected to composting, vermicomposting or even certain say biomethanation operations. The dry recyclables can be used for the filling, it can be a construction material, and hence losing its value by storing and consuming the non-rejuvenatable source of the ground may not be convenient to use. As well, if we think of some specific category of the waste, the way we considered about the monofills while getting introduced in the initial slides, we can think of hazardous waste as well as even the construction and demolition waste landfill. But at this particular moment, we must take into account that the waste that we are going to dump in the landfills is not being treated, but it is being stored for some convenient time till we find certain better option for its further treatment and even the disposal. Hence, we introduce now the sanitary landfills. The way we consider open dumps, landfills and the lacunae and the serious issues associated with that, now we can think of the sanitary landfills. It is an alternative to the landfills where the waste is totally isolated. It is more hygienic and built as well as operated in very scientific manner, and hence we concentrate on certain concepts such that there won't be emission of the dust, gas, litter, as well as it won't be open to the rodents, as well as there won't be much of the erosion as well as even the production of the leachate, and hence we induce some inherent components like lignins which are impermeable layers created by making use of plastic as well as the clay, and this is also based on some impermeable base. However, it has got its own virtues. Over the period as it reaches the height of 25 to 30 meter and it is to be resting over the span of 20 to 25 years, over this particular span these may settle and there may be development of the cracks. It is quite probable that certain chemical solvents being produced through the various operations would be coming out, gases would be coming out, It is also found that the rate of the decomposition in the sanitary landfills is highly variable, and even some biodegradable materials do not decompose in landfill. Some instances are seen that the newspaper which was dumped as a part of solid waste was even readable after a considerable time, which is found in the post-closure operations. Giving consideration to each of these particular aspects, one must think of engineered principles of the construction as well as the operation and the maintenance is very crucial. Hence, the designing, operating and maintaining these sanitary landfills is very costly business. As we move ahead, we'll get introduced as well as we'll discuss many things about these particular landfills. Till then, we would stop here. So thanks for your attention. As we move ahead, I will discuss about the essential components of the sanitary landfills. So bye till then. I wish you very happy learning. Thank you.